Hello YouTube, today I come at you with another Star Wars The Black Series figure review. Today we have the New Republic security droid from the Black Series Star Wars figure line. And I thought this guy looked pretty sick. And honestly, I was kind of right. He is actually really cool. I actually really do dig him so far. But before we get into him himself, let's take a look at his box, his packaging. Just bear with me for a sec. He came in the very typical window box that every one of these does come in. New Republic security droid there from the Mandalorian show. With what is honestly a really good looking piece of artwork on the side there. That looks really cool. And then on the back, you got that same really good looking picture. And then you have a text blurb that reads, "The New Republic used these security droids for protection and combat, including aboard high-security correctional transports like the one the Mandalorian boarded in an effort to rescue the prisoner Quinn." I haven't seen the Mandalorian again, but that sounds like a cool little text blurb to read. But let's get into this guy. He is actually surprisingly cool for a figure. The paint and sculpt is pretty damn nice. As far as I can tell, a majority of him is unpainted, except for his eye, being that yellow line, that is basically his eye. The Republic symbol on his chest, these lights on the buttons and switches on his chest, the yellow lines on his shoulder pads, and I guess this blue, this decal, and this yellow line are also paint. I'm not totally sure. But as far as I can tell, a majority of him is unpainted, which is a good thing. And I don't think I mentioned it in my reviews for the Prime Samus Figma. A figure being unpainted is largely a good thing in my opinion, because it just means less to mess up. Like, she's largely unpainted, and I think that's personally a good thing, because it means there's less to mess up. You can't really do anything wrong with it, and no paint scratching if there isn't much paint to begin with. But anyways, this guy's actually really neat. I like his aesthetic a lot. I think these tubes in his abdomen are painted, but I'm not totally sure. They look like they're painted. They have a nice silver look to them. And so does that piece of armor there in his belly. He looks really good. Now, aesthetic, I think it's really cool for a robot, for a droid. He looks really neat. I like how lanky and skinny he is. He looks really nice. I really don't know what to go over with aesthetic for this guy, because I'm just purely happy with it. I really like how he looks. I mean, you can see him. By the way, without the light on, I have this light on just so you can see everything, but he is a dark gray for basically his entire body, a very dark gray, with some silver, yellow, and red and blue, as you can see. But he looks nice. His accessory was simply a blaster pistol with an optic on top of it. And that looks really good. I like the silver, and as far as I can tell, the silver is the only paint on it. This gun is not jet black, but it is a very dark gray. And it's a slightly soft and flexible plastic, which is a good thing. It just means it won't break. But the blaster pistol looks really good. Has a trigger, has a sight on top, has all the proper little detailings, including gas openings on the barrel, rivets. It's covered in detail, and honestly looks pretty nice. There's even a little loop on the back of it, sculpted into it, that would be for a sling. I don't know if you can tell, but right here on the back, there is a little loop that would be for a sling for this gun, if it was, you know, an actually functional piece. But it looks really good. I like the blaster pistol. It looks nice. He can hold it quite well, actually. So just stick it in his hand, get his finger in the trigger, and he can hold it really nicely. It's not going nowhere. Like, I can flick it, hit it, mess with it. It's not going nowhere. He has a really good grip on it. He has a really nice hold on his weapon, which is a very good thing. And honestly, I just dig having a robot figure. I don't really care if it's Star Wars or not. If it's a cool robot, I'm in. He looks nice. Very, very aesthetically pleasing. Now, moving on to articulation and all that. His pauldrons are soft. So, like, the shoulder pads are a soft sort of material. And they are on a little tab, so they are separate from the rest of the arm. But they can move with the rest of the shoulder, so they can follow the arm if you do a 360. So I'm guessing that means it's attached to the actual shoulder joint and not the chest. And his antenna as well is a softer piece, and so are his feet. They're all very soft, flexible plastic, and I think that's a good thing, personally. And so are his hands. But getting onto articulation. His head can rock from side to side, no problems. He can look up pretty far and down decently well, and that's the neutral. And of course, his head can rotate just fine with no issues. He has a load of clearance on his head, so it can move all over the place. His arms are both the exact same, except for the position or the pose of his hands. So I'm just going to go over one. You can get a full 360 out of it, of course. You can lift it out to the side, but it doesn't really go horizontal, or perfectly horizontal, unless you twist the whole arm itself. But that's not a big deal. He does have a bicep rotation at the elbow. And you can rotate his hands, and they are both on a hinge joint, so they go back and forth. These little rivets, or whatever you want to call them, in his joints are a clear, translucent plastic. I don't know how well that's showing up, but these are clear, and it looks really, really cool. I actually really dig that. The arm has no problems moving all over the place, by the way. It's completely functional and works really, really nicely. Now, for his midsection, he can rock a little bit. Not a lot, but enough. He can rotate full 360 if you need him to. He has an okay arcing back and basically no ab crunch, but I think that's fine for a robot. His legs are actually really good. He has a thigh rotation back and forth. He can split just a tiny itty-bitty bit. Not a lot, but you don't really need it. His legs can go out quite far and back very far. They can go a full 360 all the way around. He has a rotation at the knee. The knee can go back that far, single jointed. And the ankle can go that far forward, so pretty much perfectly flat to the shin, and then all the way back. And the ankles do have a rock to them, so they can twist. I actually really dig this guy. He's pretty neat. Honestly, I give him a 10 out of 10 for what he is. He's pretty good. Not half bad. Again, this is the New Republic Security Droid Black Series. I dig him a lot. He looks really good. He functions well as a figure. He has a nice weapon. That's pretty cool. I dig it a lot. He's really well done. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope y'all have a good one. I'm out. Peace.